Morning, everybody. How you doing?
Good morning.
So we're here again on the 21st of snowy day here on the East Coast. Every snow there,
What kind of
Chris?
day?
Yeah, forget it. I'm not talking to you.
I keep looking. I can't find a fog shovel. I'm sorry. They just don't make it.
But I'm sure you can find a selfie stick.
Isn't that where they invented them? Isn't San Francisco?
Exactly. I couldn't resist. Sorry.
Ouch.
I
That's
like
gonna
that.
sting a little bit. All right, guys. Today we're talking about content marketing. I found this article that talked about. Um, I'm very curious about content marketing these days, Chris, and I think it's like the last way for social media to really make an impact. What do you think,
For a
Chris?
brand.
Yeah, right. There's way too many things that social media makes an impact on, but I think that's a really strong one-to-one value when you can actually do content marketing.
I think content marketing is the cost of doing business. It's entry level. If you're not doing content marketing, then your social media and a lot of your marketing is then purely driven by dollars. How many Google ads can you buy and stuff like that.
Well, and I agree. I think content marketing is a necessary evil for any company, especially startups, to get their brand and get their messaging out there and hopefully drive traffic to their business. Just to gain usership, eyeballs, mind share, build credibility, all that other stuff that it's supposed to do, right? The challenges I find personally, most companies that are out there, I think, are doing it just categorically wrong on all levels, and are just ineffective.
I keep going back to the same thing, guys. That content marketing has got to be part of your theme, right? So if you know what you're fixing or addressing for the customer, your content marketing should be downstream from that in order to bring people back to your message.
Right. It's got to be part of the whole. You can't do it. It's just like if you got a brick and mortar store and you stick up a sign and you expect people to come by, without any other kind of advertising, it's probably not going to work. And so content marketing has got to be a piece of the whole.
See, to me, content marketing is the guy in the chicken suit that can do the sign spinning that stands in the street calling people in. That to me is that's your content marketing if you're doing it right.
All right, look, it was a brief period of my career. Can we just move on?
I think we've all been there in early sales, except for Marco. He was always the manager of three guys in their chicken suits.
Yeah. He bought the chicken suit for others.
But here's the thing. How many times do you guys read the wrong content marketing? People tend to look at what's popular and then move their content marketing to what's popular, although it's got nothing to do with their message.
Or their product.
Yeah.
Which is where I see the biggest disconnect is the problem that the business actually solves for what their company does is not what the content marketing, it's not even remotely related to that content marketing unless you twist it around so much that it doesn't even recognize itself to draw people in. So you're getting people coming to your website, you're getting traction, but none of those things actually have a conversion point at any reasonable level.
Yes. People are just grabbing whatever they can find because content at this point has worked down to a value of almost nothing.
Right.
Because there's 100,000 or a couple 100,000 out of work writers who used to work at magazines and newspapers and things like that, and those are all drying up and blowing away. And so these people out there, selling their stuff at
so,
and the problem is that you can get people to churn out anything, and it doesn't have any relation to what your business is. It doesn't, without a cohesive strategy behind it. All you're doing is throwing stuff to the wall to see what sticks.
There's
Well,
a company out in Boston that I think, Chris, you might know this. Was there a lot of journalists or people in Boston of that kind of world? Because there's a company in
Yeah.
Boston that, yeah, right. There's a company in Boston that I guess has assimilated, not assimilated, but assembled all these, air quotes journalists. And now what they're doing is they're saying, we'll give you an 800-word article on anything you want for $40.
who needs
40.
a marketing department?
That seems rather high.
Well, because it's Boston, right? You can go offshore and get the same thing for 8,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
but the problem is, it's just one of those articles that says nothing about nothing.
Well, if you remember when we were at the ad tech trade show
Yes.
recently, and we're walking around there, and we were talking to the different marketing people in the various booths. You'll appreciate this, Chris. So we're walking around there, and we were with another friend of ours, and we're walking through the trade show, just trying to drum up some leads for our respective careers here, and try to get some business going. And we realized there was a thread going, and the thread that we saw was cloud computing,
Oh yes.
analytics, real-time analytics, business intelligence,
Big data.
mobility, mobile optimization. It was the same like 8 keywords. And what we would do is, as we go into a booth and we would egg one of these guys on to get them talking, we would sit there and just ding away as they would hit each one of these buzzwords as we would talk to them.
Yeah, we
So,
made it into
Buzzword
a tricky
bingo.
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and the comedy of it is, if you go out and look at content marketing, what's being done today, especially in the tech business, those same keywords are the threads for most of these articles, and the people are just basically taking those Google keywords and making that their content marketing campaign, and it may or may not have anything to do with their product. It's like, oh, I think we do that a little bit, so why don't we write some articles about that, because we'll get some traffic.
So what I thought was interesting from what I was reading this morning is that it just seems like all this stuff now costs money, right? But Facebook going down to, if you want to share this, you have to pay us. Um, Chris wants to
Right.
say something. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah. Well, that's the driver behind it, is that organic reach on Facebook for a brand is now, effectively zero. So, it used to be that I could write something on Facebook, I could write a good piece of content or something like that, and I would get some, I would get a few hundred or a few thousand clicks depending on, the size of my audience, things like that. But now my audience isn't going to see it. It's not going to appear in their timeline, so then I'm not going to have an opportunity for them to click on it. Just about, nothing. I mean, I'm talking that brands with 100,000 or 500,000 followers are getting, a couple of hundred clicks, and so you have to push that. You have to advertise that on Facebook. That's the only way it's going to get out there. So the value of the content marketing on something like Facebook is really falling to nothing.
Yeah, it was interesting because if you remember, if you go back into the archives of our shows, we were talking about the movie business that used to be able to see Facebook at the name of the movie, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I was always like, why the hell would they do that? Right? Because sometimes they would have to do exactly what they're doing now,
Yeah.
right?
It's
And
just a
now,
natural progression. I mean, we saw this coming years ago. This is where this was going to head to, because it's the same story as selling outsourcing services, right? Where eventually you get down to the lowest common denominator. It's a race to the bottom. It just becomes cheap, and you just become blended into everything else that's out there. It's very, very hard to distinguish your message and get people to actually care about something. That's why there's all these crazy viral campaigns, like the Red Bull gives you wings guys jumping out of the giant tower and planes and stuff, just to try to create some viral messaging around it.
yeah, and I was looking at there was some news about the Kate Upton's a commercial, right? And they said if they spent that money instead of giving it to her back on the product itself, you'd actually have a good product.
Yeah, they're going to say things like that a lot. But in the end, Facebook used to be the viral driver for content, and if you had halfway decent content, that you could get some organic reach out of it, and the organic reach the first level organic reach coming directly from the brand is gone in Facebook, and Twitter's heading in the same direction. And a lot of people are saying they're expecting Twitter to do a very similar thing, and that as a brand, it doesn't matter how many followers you got. For your followers to see it in the stream, you're going to have to pay for it. And it's going to do two things. It's going to drive Facebook and Twitter's valuations up, and it's going to cause it to become a play-to-pay world for everything that anybody wants to do in social media to communicate with their audience.
Are you guys finding that overall on a lot of these Web 2.0 kind of sites that it seems like they're more pay-driven than they were in the past?
Pay-driven?
Well, it doesn't seem like, it used to be like community was a big deal, right? You want to get a big community, don't worry about revenue. And now it seems like, worry about revenue.
Well, I think they have to, right? I mean, it's this. The whole thing is at first everyone's like, we need social media, we're missing the boat. So everybody dove in and wanted to add it to whatever they had. Then they said, okay, well, what the hell is this? Then they started, messing around with different tools that are out there and trying to curate, do some other things with their data, but not very successful in most cases because they still don't know what they're doing because they're not natives to this space or how to really use it. Now things are at a point where they're maturing a little bit, and it's like, okay, well, we've got this stuff. What do we do with it? Because now we have followers, we've got content, we've got all this information. There's got to be a way for us to monetize, and so I think they're just figuring it out. It's just an evolution of the whole business.
Yeah, but doesn't that kill I'm sorry, go ahead, Chris.
No. Well, it's just that, yes, without a question, the monetization of social media has come, and Facebook and Twitter and everybody else is realizing that you can't run the thing for free. Nobody's going to buy the concept that just because you've got 400 million people someplace that it's got a value. Everybody is understanding that not being able to understand how you communicate with that audience and pushing paid messages out to that audience is the only way that those guys are going to remain viable. So
this is right back to the sign spinner, right? You got a sign spinner on the highway standing there. All the cars say, hey, did you see that crazy sign spinner dancing? How many people actually went into the car wash to the chicken place to go buy the stuff?
Yeah, sure, but that's the point. My point is that the value behind the chicken spinner is zero, right?
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at. That's the whole point of it.
Right. So if you were, if the way that I consume, I'm done with I'm done with the big headlines, right?
Right.
I'm with this might kill you if you don't do it.
Yes.
I'm done with that, and my twittering is more on a search base, right? I'm all about keywords. I find the right keywords and search on the keywords, right?
Yes.
That's the way I consume it, right? So with content, I'm a little bit the same way. I'm just shocked that at least with Twitter, you can do searching. You can't even do searching with Facebook.
Well, you can. It's difficult. Most people don't realize that there is much of a search on Facebook and all that. So
It doesn't
you're
work
right.
that great. I mean, it's there. You can do it. They've got that grid search thing they built in, but I don't know. I think it needs to evolve.
Yeah. So so the good news from Facebook's perspective is that their algorithm is still driving what most of their audience is seeing. So I guess the question is going to be, how long is that going to run? Before people start searching elsewhere and things like that.
Is this an opportunity for competition?
To Facebook?
Yeah, there's always an opportunity for competition for Facebook. If in another 5 years Facebook's still dominant, I think I'll be very surprised. I think the pace of the change in the internet is still going to. So I think that if Facebook and Google are still dominant in 5 years, I'll be surprised. I have no idea what's going to replace them or when or how. But I think that definitely they will be replaced.
So can we talk about Google for 1 second?
Google, yeah, I've heard of them.
So, do you guys ever use Helpouts?
I have.
You know
Help
what?
out?
Yeah,
No.
Helpouts.
Expert
So
on demand.
you know what Hangouts are, right? So
Yeah.
Helpouts was if you needed somebody to do some SEO for you, you could pay for somebody to do a Hangout with you and actually have a meeting.
Hmm.
I
No, I have.
was
And
I
there's an
was
app for that
never
too.
I was never able to get into it. I must have did a couple of applications, and even with my contacts at Google, I was never able to get into it.
You couldn't get in as an expert on helpouts?
Nope, never able to.
I
My
think I've
goodness.
been listed on it for a while. When it first started, I jumped on it just to check out what it was a long time ago.
Yeah, no, I was able to. I was never able to have my own help out.
Ah.
Yeah. Um. So now it doesn't really matter anymore because they killed it.
I took the app off my devices shortly after it came out because I found it was, let's just say, less than good.
Yeah, I loved it. I really loved it. But they killed it, and now the word is that they're gonna kill Google Voice.
Google Voice is not dead. Google Voice, because I'm a big user of Google Voice. Google Voice is going
Yeah.
through a change. It's being absorbed by Google Hangouts, and it's pretty much done already. If you have Google Hangouts on an Android device, you can actually have all your Google Voice stuff in there, see your voicemails, read your voicemails, play them. The only downside is it's a pretty complicated integration and app, and it's pretty buggy.
You think Google Voice is buggy?
Oh hell yeah, yeah. It
Yeah.
works, but it's very very buggy. I mean, it's not for the faint of heart to be able to use as your unified inbox, which was my hope to be able to use it for.
Yeah.
So
I
it's a
use it.
mon-
I use it as a follow me phone service.
Yeah, me too.
So
I do too.
my phone number is my Google Voice number. So I hope it doesn't go away because
That's my
that's the number I
point.
use for business.
So,
Yeah,
so
same here. Same here.
yeah, I use it too. I don't think it's going anywhere, to be honest. I think there's too many people using it. The problem
I don't know
is
about that. I
every
don't
time
know.
there's an Android update, it breaks something.
I'm not convinced. And this is a scary. And once again, talking about our backdrop, right? Um, and Chris, keep us on time. Maybe we can have a Google discussion next time. Because if you look at Google, I've always been afraid that got it. I've always been afraid that Android at some place would get dropped.
Android would get dropped.
Well, but you know,
There's nothing to
again,
drop with Android. It's an open source project now, so it's just going to continue to evolve. It's got enough funding and support. It's not going anywhere.
right up until the moment where Google comes up with something else and they use that on their phones.
Well, it's possible. I don't see it happening though.
I look. I'm just actually worried because I know that Google Plus has been teetering for a long time.
Well, Google Plus is a mess, right? I mean, it's not anything. I mean, you try to understand what it is. It's an undefined entity as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I
As
think.
as a social network, it's a fail, and
Yeah.
and it follows in a long line of fails by Google.
What do you mean? I'm still using my Buzz.
I'm sure you probably still use Waves too. Google Waves, remember that?
I remember
Yes.
we were on
Yes.
the podcast when Waves came out, and I was like, I do not understand this. Remember that?
Oh yeah. No. We tried to use it for our Friday meetings. Remember?
yeah. I'm like, I don't understand it.
I don't think anyone
And
Googled it either. It's like, hey, look what we can do. It's a product. Let's get it out there. That's basically what it is.
Um,
yeah, yeah.
but those are the kind of things, and I think I want to continue on this discussion because to me, today, content marketing, messaging, problem solving is what's keeping small companies from becoming big companies or products becoming companies.
Well, I guess to say that, would imply that big companies are doing content marketing well.
They don't have to.
And as far as I'm aware, the only big company that's really crushing it with content marketing is GoPro. And that's because they've just got a natural feed from their customers.
So just closing on GoPro for a second, the mistake that people make is thinking that GoPro is a camera company. GoPro is a media company.
Okay.
They're not, because the camera itself, you can do the camera stuff on anything. You don't need the GoPro $300 camera. You can get many waterproof cameras. You can get many,
Like my
Phone.
Samsung Galaxy S5.
Yeah, like an S5 that's already somewhat waterproof.
No, but
Yeah.
what I'm saying is you can always get, no matter what camera you have, you can get a case for it.
Yes.
The thing about the
Yes.
GoPro was the GoPro network.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I think it's a $2 stock, not a $150 stock. But I think GoPro being a camera is a big mistake. They're a content marketing.
I think they know what they are, though.
I don't think so. When you listen to their earning, they think that they got this great product.
Yeah, well, I guess time will tell, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, they make their money from schlepping hardware. And full disclosure, they're a sprinkler client.
right,
So
but they make money from content marketing, promoting a brand, causing that brand to think that their hardware is different from anybody else's. Because I'll tell you what, their software blows.
okay, I don't know about the software. I actually don't own a GoPro today. But it is one of those things that people aspire to. You know, I'd like to have one.
Yeah.
I think lots of people would. I think that the idea of wanting to have a GoPro is to really be more like the guys that do GoPro and do it well.
Bingo.
Right.
And I think that's the key to content marketing. Because what you're doing is you're promoting the content and say, I want to be just like that.
Right. Which is the same thing with Red Bull. And Red Bull wants to, you want to have the wings like the people in Red Bull commercials do, or you want to do the things that Red Bull does at Flu Tag and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's just a lifestyle. It's basically a lifestyle advertising campaign to suck
Yeah,
people in.
that's a little bit different for me because I mean, my Red Bull content is because they're all over racing. You can't pick up a racing anything without seeing a Red Bull car, motorcycle, sled, skis, whatever you want to. And a lot of the GoPro people have Red Bull helmets,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But if I look at to me, they're a little bit different. To me, the GoPro's content getting me to do those things. But I'll tell you the dirty little secret is that most of that content that you see is not coming natively off the camera. It's going through Final Cut Pro. It's going through whatever it's going through. But
Sure.
everything is edited and cleaned and whatever. And then you get your GoPro. You're like, what is that?
Well, I think GoPro's hook is that they make a way to attach a camera to something unusual. And that's the difference between a GoPro and a Galaxy S5, because it's difficult for me to attach my Galaxy S5 to something. Then I'm also kind of worried about attaching my Galaxy S5, but if my $300 GoPro takes a hit, it's better because I don't have my entire world in there.
And we're right back to where we started from, David. We're right back to the selfie stick.
Exactly. Hey, I sometimes I get it right.
And on that bombshell, let's call it a show.
All right.
Chris, thank you for joining us.
Oh,
David,
thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Our reporter from the South has a migraine on his private jet on the way to New York.
Air pressure.
Yeah.
It's a terrible shame. Yeah.
Air pressure will kill you. And I will catch you guys next week.
All right, guys.
Awesome.
Later.
Thank you.